using social media, a virtual neighborhood watch to fight crime in Delaware, and finally, he's coming to the Delaware State Fair. This is the Delaware Way. There is a new tool in crime fighting. It is the internet. It's a virtual neighborhood crime watch. To talk more about that is Colonel Nathaniel McQueen, Sergeant Richard Bratz from the Delaware State Police. Both of those men, thank you so much and thank you for your service. And Joseph Porcelli of Nextdoor.com. That is the platform we'll be talking about, so let's start with you. What exactly does Nextdoor.com do?
Sure, Nextdoor is the free and private social network for neighborhoods, and neighbors use it to connect and communicate about everyday things, from finding a babysitter to a plumber to a handyman to discussing things like a lost pet or crime in their neighborhood.
And that's where you come in, with crime in your neighborhood. How do you use this?
We use it for a variety of ways, one of which is just to let neighbors know what's going on in their communities, maybe a crime trend that we're experiencing through the state police, or maybe a safety message that we want to post, or some alert that we want to put out to the community.
How many neighborhoods are we talking about now?
The total number of neighborhoods have grown significantly. We started in May with 371 neighborhoods in our state police jurisdiction. Now the Delaware State Police has 410 neighborhoods, which equals to about 28,000, a little over 28,000 members in the state of Delaware currently on Nextdoor that we can reach out to, specifically into a neighborhood or multiple neighborhoods.
Has there been a success story? Has it helped so far?
There has been a lot of success with it. I can tell you Nextdoor.com is an extraordinary opportunity for the Delaware State Police to significantly connect with the people in all these neighborhoods. I can tell you when we have thefts from vehicles in a particular neighborhood, we are able to let them know through our other social media platforms as well as Nextdoor that we're experiencing these issues. And what they're doing is actually reaching back out to us to let us know any information, any tidbit information that we can put together through our investigation to actually solve these crimes. One in particular that I'm thinking about is we did that and we put it out there, and people reached back out to us to give us some information. We apprehended the 2 suspects, and we reached back out to the neighborhoods to let them know that we apprehended them and they've been arrested. And they reached back out to us to let us know how appreciative they are of that. And I think off the cuff we received in a particular neighborhood maybe 50 to 60 thank yous and several comments supporting that.
Let me try to understand. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, I did. So, answering your question about trust, people join Nextdoor for lots of different reasons. One of the things we were talking about earlier today is lost pets, right? So somebody's dog may have run away and then they heard about Nextdoor and they post on Nextdoor, and chances are somebody's maybe seen that dog and will return that dog home. For example, my wife and I just moved from DC to Annapolis. We have a young child, an infant, 7 months old. And when we joined Nextdoor, we said, hey, we're new to town. We have a young child. We're looking for all kinds of things. And all these people welcomed us. We got invited over to someone's house for dinner, found good babysitters, a dry cleaner, all the things that can take a long time. But Nextdoor, there's all this kind of wonderful energy in the neighborhood between the neighbors, and they use it for all kinds of things that are neighborly. So crime is actually only about, on average, 16% of conversations on the platform are about crime and safety issues around the country. And there's about, let's see, we got events, you have general conversations, and the largest portion is actually recommendations. People looking for handymen, plumbers, roofers, the kinds of things that neighbors want to discuss every day with their neighbors.
But a lot of times when there's crime in a neighborhood, you're not just concerned about that neighborhood. You want to get word out to other neighborhoods as well. You want to find out where this guy may be going, or say, watch out for somebody. Do you have access, when you're talking about having 410 neighborhoods, can you post something to all of them?
We can post something to all the neighborhoods. We can focus on a specific neighborhood. We can focus on a specific troop area that may fall under one command that are experiencing those problems, and direct information to just those folks. The one thing about Nextdoor I think he didn't mention was the fact that police are not watching all their conversations. So specifically, we're only focused on when they have those crime and safety posts, and if we can impact them to try to find ways that we can solve problems together. Sometimes police can't solve problems, and neighbors can solve problems of their own. We just give them the information that we have available, and then we share information back and forth.
When you say you don't have access, and I'll go to you, when he says you don't have access to all their information, do you just mean their personal information or what they post?
I can tell you what will happen is when somebody posts something that's related to crime and safety, they have things that they can click on, different categories. They click on crime and safety. What we see is the number. We don't see exactly what they're writing. But when we reach out to them, we say, hey, we noticed there's 93 posts under crime and safety in your neighborhood. We're the Delaware State Police. Is there anything we can do to help? they reach back out to us, and we reach back out to them and saying, if it's a suspicious vehicle, suspicious person in your neighborhood, we can actually increase patrols out there, or we can get that information for you and try to figure out what the person's doing.
So the neighborhood has to allow them to
So-
see.
If the four of us are neighbors in a neighborhood, we can talk about all our neighborly things, right? They can post a message into our neighborhood. We can see their message. We can interact with their message. We can reply. We can even send a direct message to the poster. But they cannot see who the neighbors are or what the neighbors are talking about. Now, as Sergeant Bratz said, there's a dashboard that lets them see, like, hey, there's a number of crime and safety posts, which allows them to think, we should post into that neighborhood. And as the sergeant said, ask, hey, we see a number of crime and safety posts, but since we can't see who you are and what you're talking about, we need you to tell us, is there something we can do, or is there something we need to work on together? Which the neighbors appreciate because it remains private to them. Only the people who live in that neighborhood have access to those conversations. So it manages privacy, but also gives the department some data to be proactive about reaching out. Instead of waiting for something to get out of hand, they can get ahead of it.
Right, and it's important to note that it's not a 911. So if they definitely need something immediate and it's an emergency, they have to dial 911. We don't want people posting on there if they need police services immediately. So that's important to note.
This is more like there's a creep in the neighborhood or something like that, and
Well,
he's not there immediately.
Suspicious behavior, if they want to report it, it could be something innocuous. It could be something totally innocent, and they just want us to check it out to prevent something if it wasn't. So they wanted to reach out to us in that regard.
Is there an app for how do you get notified?
You get notified through the website. They receive messages from individual neighbors and from Nextdoor or from the police directly.
So you're watching this all the time, you're monitoring this all the time?
So what happens if the police department posts on Nextdoor? It shows up on Nextdoor.com. It also shows up on the app if someone has downloaded and installed the app. And it also kicks out an email to people's inboxes. So they can participate on Nextdoor on the device and in the way that they're comfortable, but it does get to them and they can respond. And if there's say an increase in theft from autos that the department's posted about, hey, we know this is going on, we're stepping up our patrols, but we really need you folks to remove your valuables from your car. And if you see valuables left in one of your neighbor's car, go knock on their door and tell them, like, hey, we're trying to reduce some crime here. Please take your valuables out of your car.
It sounds wonderful. And if there are other police departments out there, other neighborhoods out there, I guess would be the right thing to say, that want to take part in this, how do they sign up?
Sure. So if you're a neighbor and you want to sign up for Nextdoor, you simply go to nextdoor.com, and there's 2 fields, your address and your email, and just start right there, and our system will walk you through it. And other police departments, it can even be public health departments. I know lots of them are thinking about Zika right now. Simply just go to nextdoor.com/agency.
Great. Thank you so much for all being here. Colonel Nathaniel McQueen and Sergeant Richard Bratz from the Delaware State Police, thank you. And Joseph Porcelli of Nextdoor.com. When we come right back, how young is too young to learn a second language? There may be no age. They're teaching it in kindergarten now. We'll talk about that when we come right back.